Hello guys. Yesterday we learned about two events that can be categorized as severe weathered. The one was thunderstorm and the other was tornado. And today we're gonna learn about hurricanes. Now hurricanes are also a type of severe storm that actually develops over tropical oceans. And they have strong winds of more than 120 kilometers per hour and spiral in toward the intensely low pressured storm center. This is the storm center, and this is very low pressure. So they kind of spiral in towards the center. And the thing to note here is the speed of the strong at which the strong winds kind of spiral in. Now, kilometers per hour is obviously in SI unit. It's the International System of Unit, if you remember. So it is going at a very fast speed. Again, it has a huge destructive power. And hurricanes have different names in different parts of the world. In some places, they are known as typhoons. In some places, they are known as cyclones. So they have different names in different parts of the world. Now let's look over here. This is a picture that you guys had to refer today in today's reading, and this was in reference to how exactly a hurricane looks from the top. Now, this part is known as the eye of the hurricane, or exactly the center point, the one where there's the lowest pressure. And as you can see here, it's very it looks to be going at a very high speed. And what happens here is that the storm is turning counterclockwise in one hemisphere and clockwise in another. What that means, so actually, let's see. So hurricanes actually begin as a group of thunderstorms, right? And when wind actually travels in two different directions and they meet, that's when storm begins. That causes the storm to spin, kind of like thunderstorms. Sorry, not thunderstorms. Kind of like tornado. If you remember, when the air moves in two different directions and continues to spin, it kind of forms a funnel cloud and it becomes more active, right? Similarly, when in case of hurricanes, when winds travel in two different directions and meet, it kind of causes a storm to spin. And it actually gets its energy from condensation in water vapor, condensation of water vapor. So condensation, if you remember from water cycle, is when the water vapor kind of gets converted into water droplets. And once formed, a hurricane is kind of fueled through contact with warm ocean water. Again, if you remember, a hurricane almost always begins in a huge water body and then it keeps moving. So it's not always stationary. And when it moves into colder waters or over land, it kind of begins to die out. It becomes weaker because it has lost its energy. Because if you remember, the source of energy is again the warm water in the water body. So when it keeps moving into the lower area, into areas with colder water or into the land which has almost no water, it begins to die out. It begins to become less and less strong. So that's what a hurricane is. Now, if we move forward, this is a picture of the damage that was caused by hurricane. Again, property damage would suggest that this is a type of severe weather. In some cases, it can also lead to death. Now, this is why we need to know what kind of safety precautions we should be taking when we confront such different events. For example, in case of a thunderstorm, it is very important that you not be in an open space because lightning is actually one of the most dangerous parts of a thunderstorm. And by open space, I kind of mean outside, not exactly an area where there's nothing around. That is relatively safer. So you need to remember that lightning is actually mostly attracted to tall objects. So if you're outside, you need to stay away from trees, because this is probably where lightning is going to strike. And if you have nowhere else to go, I would say stay away from trees and crouch down and make yourself as flat as possible, relative to the Earth's surface. Otherwise, you will be the tallest object in the area, and it is very important that you not be the tallest object. It will also be a very good idea to stay away from bodies of water, because if lightning hits water, you could be hurt or even die. Because again, if you remember, lightning has a lot of electric charges, so that kind of shock might not be something that your body can take, or even if it takes, you will end up being hospitalized and in pain for a very long time. So avoid bodies of water when you are in thunderstorm and you fear lightning. On the other hand, when we're talking about tornadoes, it is very important that you find shelter quickly. Tornadoes can end up with a lot of property damage and deaths, so it's very, very, very important that you find a safe shelter. So when there is a tornado warning, you will probably hear a huge alarm going off, and the best place to go is kind of like a basement or a cellar. And you need to go, or if you don't have a basement or a cellar, you should go to a windowless room in the center of the building. This can be a bathroom or a closet or even a hallway. If you're outside, it will be the best if you lie down in a large open field or a deep ditch. This is one way through which you can protect yourself. Again, if you see the picture here, you can see that students are crouching towards the surface with their heads protected by their hands and some other object like a book. Now, this is another thing that you should do, and you will be trained on once you get back to school. But this is what you should do if you ever find yourself um, caught in the middle of a tornado. And finally, if you ever catch yourself in the middle of a hurricane warning, the best thing to do is to stay inside. Indoors is the best place to be at during the storm. And if you have windows, as you can see in the image, the windows are being closed tight with some kind of plywood. So this is the best precaution to take. So in case of hurricane, it will be best to put a plywood or some kind of strong material around your windows, on your windows, to protect them. You might probably have a disaster kit of some sort that your family will probably provide you, or if we are in school, that we will have, which includes water and food for several days, because you might never know when exactly a hurricane will subside. Again, you would probably have a TV or radio station that will keep you updated if there's a hurricane in your area. And if you live near the shore, you will probably be asked to evacuate the area, as again, if you remember, hurricanes thrive on warm water. So if you are near those areas, you need to evacuate immediately. And that is the best thing to do. So this is what we learned about safety during severe weather. And you can go ahead and complete your guided practice and independent practice, and I will see you later. Bye.